You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
I'm not your sunshine.
You make me happy when skies are gray. That's a lot of pressure.
Well,
to make me happy.
I mean, I totally thought your job was to make me happy.
It's not my job to make you happy. It's impossible for me to make you happy. And that's what we're going to talk about today on The Living Room. Welcome back to The Living Room. Even if you're not happy, we're in the living room.
I'm so glad you're here having this conversation with us and how my little bubble got bursted on how it's not your job to make me happy and it's not my job to make you happy.
Yeah.
That was a big shock for me when we got married.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's a big shock for a lot of people. I think for me too, I think that's, like not just when we got married, I think throughout life, it's been hard to not put the pressure of my happiness on you.
Or someone else, right?
Or on anyone else or anything. I think a lot of times you thought it was my job to make you happy by just give me what I want.
Yeah. Just say yes to everything I say.
Which card do I put the vacation on? Right? Like, give me the budget for the shoes. Give me the budget.
Give me no budget is what makes me happy. I don't want to hear the word budget.
You know what? Let's say this. I want to do this. I want to do this little rapid fire. I think this will be fun. What are things that you presume you do that make me happy?
When I don't spend money, when I eat at home.
Dude, you're making me sound like I'm your dad. I'm not your dad. I'm just frugal. Listen, you guys, listen. Like in our dynamic,
You're the budget guy.
I'm the budget guy. Yeah. I'm frugal.
You haven't always been.
No.
That's why. I think that's why you're more extra.
Perhaps
in that sense.
I think also we have a good dynamic where you bring a little bit of the extra from the other side and we meet in the middle and it's a good thing, right? But okay, what else? What else do you think or you would assume like, when I do this, it makes Cruz happy?
When I buy you gifts that are meaningful to you, like your favorite snacks, you like that. Or
I'm a really simple guy. Dude.
You are, but you're not, because you are very hard to shop for because you like certain things, and those certain things are usually in a category where I have to just save up. Other than that, you rather not have it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think I make you happy when I put no budget.
Yes.
When I don't ever talk about money with you.
Yes.
I think that makes you happy. I think it makes you happy when I don't make things complicated, right? When I ask, because I tend to ask a million questions about everything.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fine.
I remember like even when we first got married, I had to put together like a whole PowerPoint on why
we should go on vacation.
It was important for us to go on vacation. And then I would put different options on this presentation.
Here's plan A. And here's plan B with the laser pointer.
And actually, I still do that. Like, I don't necessarily have to do the PowerPoint because for some reason the tables have turned and now you understand the value of vacations.
Yeah.
So then you actually now help me or you suggest, hey, this is what we should do. So
for sure. And lately I've just been like, hey, do you really like it? Is it really cool? Are we gonna love it? Because I mean, we've been together for so long. Like we know each other, but we like, but we don't like. And I just, all right, well, let's book it. Yeah. So I think that changes. But I think on that note, like happy, quote unquote, happy changes all the time as well.
Happy changes all the time.
All the time. For me, it used to be things that made me happy was like out and about, just a night out, not necessarily like, I mean, we don't live a crazy lifestyle, right? But like a night out with a bunch of friends and go out to eat and there's like 15 of us. And like, remember like our 30s, like before we had the girls and now, dude, like happy for me is like, I get to be home in sweats and I just get to watch like Apple TV movies for like 3 hours.
By yourself.
By myself.
In your own little world with your little headphones on.
That makes me really happy.
It does.
It makes me happy.
I've learned that happiness really does change depending on what's happening around you or maybe even in you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And that's something that when I was younger, I totally didn't understand. Like I put happiness on a person, on a circumstance and expected that. I didn't realize that the Bible says you have to choose joy, right? So I didn't realize I could choose joy. Even if I'm not happy, I could still choose joy. And a lot of times my life and my life situations would dictate my mood.
Yeah, I think, I think we forget that happy has its origin in happening, right? And, I'm not against happy. I think we should always be happy. But I think happy is a tricky thing to build a life on. It's a tricky thing to build intimacy on. It's a tricky thing to build relationship on. It's a tricky thing to build identity on, and fulfillment, right? Because happy only lasts so long. We have a friend of ours who is, well, I'll just say it, right? He's a professional athlete, and we were with him a couple weeks ago, and he shared the story of. I remember when he was a younger athlete, he had bought like a truck and he was really happy about it. But then he told me the last time we were together, he said, "Hey, I just bought a Lamborghini Urus."
Oh, did he?
And I was like, "Bruh, let me borrow it," But then he goes, and I said, now in my head I said, "Ooh, this is gonna be a cool experience," right? Because here's the context, right? Diana and I have been a pastoral figure in his life since he was like 18, right? So he's like 33 now or something like that, and so we've known each other for a minute. So I thought, maybe this would be kind of cool, just snapshot to see where his heart is and how he's processing and stuff. And so I said, "Oh man, how was it?" And he said, "You know what's interesting?" And in my head I go, "Here we go." He learned the lesson. He said, "The moment I bought it," he said, "I almost wanted to call my agent, call my guy that buys cars for me." I guess when you're on a level like that, you have a guy that buys cars for you. And he said, "I wanted to tell him to take it back." And I said, "Really, why?" He said, "Because I knew after I drove it twice or three times, it would make no difference." And I said, "So what was it like?" So he said, "Man, I drove it once or twice and I got to enjoy it and I was happy. But then after a week or two," he said, "It was just normal again.
Like any other
It
car."
was just like everything else, right? And I think that happiness, quote unquote, looking for things to make me happy, make us happy in terms of fulfillment. And because I think that's what we say when we're looking for something to make me happy is I want to be fulfilled. I want to feel safe. I want to feel confident. I want to feel good about myself. I think that's the danger right there, that when we reach out to things external to us, it is, it really is a fleeting thing, right? Like happiness depends on the right things happening,
The right mood, the right thing, even like in your own headspace, because you did a certain thing for me on one day doesn't mean that the next day, if you do the exact same thing, is going to make me happy like it did yesterday.
Right.
Same thing. So our appetites change and we can't determine our life on these feelings.
No, I think you're absolutely right. When you just said that, what jumped in my head is like, man, wow, happiness is a moving target, right? It's not always the same thing and it's not always in the same place. And discovering happiness, again, we're not against happiness. I mean, happiness comes and goes. But like I said a few moments ago, I don't think it's a good thing to build foundation on, right? Because it changes and it's fleeting and it's moving. And I don't think it's fair for me to put the responsibility of a person across from me to be the sole provider of my happiness.
Yeah, I think if you're not happy within yourself first, nothing and no one can make you happy.
I agree.
Yeah, your soul has to have its own fulfillment, its own foundation, its own search. Like, have you done the work of your own self? And when you're happy with yourself, everything else, it can come and go, and it could not be consistent, and you could still be okay.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you said it that way. I think the way I hear it is, everything that we would expect happiness to do for us, right? So fulfillment, validation, affirmation, a sense of security, a sense of belonging, a sense of being loved and valued, a sense of being cared for. All of those things, I think we bundle up in that one word, happy, right? But all of those things that I just mentioned are actually an inside job. They're not external, right? You're not going to get it from a consultant.
Right.
You're not going to arrive there. You're not going to get what you're looking for when it's someone else, right? Because they're never going to do it the way you want them to.
Yeah.
Like, this
Nobody
is the
lives in your
truth.
head.
This is absolutely the truth, right? And you know what's crazy? Oh man, this is very transparent. Okay. This is like, these are my confessions. Man, I'm broke. I'm not broke. Well, I'm not broke. But that was an Usher reference, by the way, which we make a lot of 90s R&B references.
That's what lives in our head.
Oh, for sure. It's a soundtrack of our lives.
Yes.
But my point is this, that like, I think that if we're not careful, we'll be so desperate or thirsty for happiness that we'll grab at things, right? Now, when I was younger, I used to really grab at things like, ooh, like around my birthdays, right? Like, oh, like I wonder if they're going to do a surprise. I wonder if they're going to do it. And I literally would create all these scenarios in my head. And when it didn't happen the way I wanted or hoped for, or, you know, have you ever made a scenario in your head and then you expected it from people and then you got mad at them for not giving you what you made up in your head, but they didn't know?
Yes.
Yeah. Me
And then
too.
I get mad because I'm like, how did you not know?
How could you not know this, right?
Like,
Anyway,
you never told me.
you know, and so like we would have situations, you and I, but now, you know, I think I've kind of grown out of that. But here's what's funny, like
Barely last year.
like
Okay.
that's a true story. Yeah, I finally grew out of it last year. Last year was like one of the first birthdays we've ever had where I was just like
peaceful.
It was wonderful. Yeah, man, y'all pray for your boy for real. Like God's still working on
It only
me.
took 40 years.
God's still working on me, man. God is still working on me. I'm trusting him. I'm walking with him. He is my sunshine, my only sunshine. No, for real.
That's the truth.
No, but like the other day, I don't know if it was yesterday, we were driving home from dinner, or maybe it was Sunday, we were driving home from church, from dinner after church. But you asked me, I think we were all together, we were in the car, the same car, so it must have been yesterday. And you asked me, you said, hey, are you really into golf?
Oh, yeah. It was a random question.
But here's what I thought. I was like, oh, I wonder if it's Father's Day's coming up. I wonder if they're going to give me something for golf.
I wasn't.
I know,
Let
dude.
me tell you.
I know.
It really was a random question.
I know, but I'm telling you, like.
Oh my gosh, that makes me sad.
Oh no, I'm just I'm not saying it to make you sad or feel guilty. I'm telling you, like that's the.
But I mean, it makes me sad for you.
But here's what I'm saying. Like I'm recognizing those things in me. Okay. So I don't get my hopes up. I'm just like all toxic. No, like, but what I don't do is I don't play myself anymore. Right? I think the extent that wanting other people to provide you happiness can take you to some really weird places.
That's crazy because now you created a whole scenario in your head,
Diana,
that I had no intention of doing it. Really, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking, oh, I wonder what brings him down. Oh, you had just preached like 3 services. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I wonder what helps him relax. I was just thinking that, like, what brings you back down to where you feel like you can breathe.
Yeah, because after I speak, I'm like my adrenaline and everything is just kind of like
for all of us. And I was just thinking, I wonder what now, not like years ago, but right now, I wonder what helps him relax. That's literally what I was thinking. So I was just asking a question.
That's wild,
the sad part is that you would have created this scenario in your head. It would have been in June and Father's Day would have come. And now you're mad at me for something I have no clue.
Right. So I'm not playing myself. Like I'm not. Like in my head, I was like, oh, I just was like, that's random. But there was a little part of me that was like, ooh, I wonder if something's gonna happen.
That's so crazy though that you use that term that I don't play myself, because I don't think people are aware that that's what they're doing. And that's the sad part, is that you're literally gonna be disappointed every single time because nobody but you lives in your head.
Look, I think to say you're going to be disappointed every single time is a little extreme. I know what you're saying. I think anytime you put unspoken expectations,
you're going to be disappointed.
When you do it that way, I agree, 100 million%.
And that's what I meant.
Yeah,
every single
I agree
time.
with you.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I agree.
Because
You're going to play yourself every time.
At this point, like, you were never going to tell me and say you didn't have a realization of like being mature, right? You would have walked that and you would have been disappointed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, for sure. In my head, I would have gone as far as like, oh man, I wonder if they're gonna bring some of my friends to play with me. I wonder if I'm getting new golf clubs. Like for real. Like I would have thought all that. But then I just thought, I let myself look, here's what I did. So I let the thought came and I was like, oh, that would be cool. But then I said, but that's pretty unlikely. And then I just let it go. And I didn't think about it until right now. Like,
But
for
you
real.
know what? You know what makes me sad? Though?
You're really going to surprise me?
No.
Oh.
What makes me sad is that this is a root cause of something. Of maybe in the past.
You want to go deep, right?
No,
Like,
I don't want to go
now.
deep, but it just revealed to me your heart. And as a little boy, something happened to where there was so much hope and you kept getting disappointed. But the crazy part is that there's still that little boy that has that type of hope inside of you, which is crazy to me. This is a huge insight for me, which makes me sad but happy at the same time. I don't know. It's a very raw emotion because I would love to fulfill what you're thinking. And if that's what you want, I'd be more than happy to set it up. But let me tell you, I am not like the greatest planner of things like surprises. So I literally would want somebody to tell me, hey, what would you like? Here you go. You know what I mean?
I get you.
But that's what it made me realize right now in this moment that there's still that little hope in you, which I would call it faith, you know? And I don't know, I'm just going to speak to you from my heart and say that the Lord is going to honor that. Yeah. I didn't mean to go deep, but I just feel my heart just to love on you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that encouraged me. I didn't know you're going to try to make me cry.
Yeah, me neither.
No, yeah, I think maybe this will help. Maybe this will help people in the room with us that, maybe some of that comes not necessarily from a toxic place, but from an unmet place, which, well, I guess turns toxic. I do think it's a trauma response. There was a lot of overpromising and under delivering in my childhood. And I think to some degree, I've lived my life putting a lot of hope and expectation on people to make me happy. And I would put a lot of expectation on people. I would never speak it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It
I would
was
never speak
very
it,
much internal.
but it was a real uncommunicated, a very quiet expectation, really quiet. Like, I wonder if they would do this. I wonder if they're working on this.
But it's crazy. It was quiet, but the response was
We're
very
loud.
loud.
Oh yeah, the responses were loud. It was incredible disappointment. It was anger. It was, I knew people didn't value me.
And it was anger. Well, that's the only emotion that you actually displayed. But at the root of that, it was just so much disappointment and sadness. But the only way you showed it was anger.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. Like, I had no idea where you're coming from because I've just, like, if you ask me what I want, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I don't make it hard. And I don't have those thoughts. Like, if you ask me about something, I'm like, oh, I wonder if. I'm like, I'm just answering the question. You know, I don't have those hopes.
Yeah. No, I think.
But it's not bad.
I think you being in my life and you being my wife and you being my best friend and you being, quite frankly, the most influential voice for my development has allowed me just to be very upfront and very direct about, hey, if y'all want to do something for me, this is what I want. If you can't do it, it's cool. Do whatever you guys want. But if you ask me what I want, this is what I want. And I think some people would look at how we celebrate birthdays and anniversaries and Christmas and stuff and be like, that's a little unconventional. Because I don't necessarily like surprises anymore, right? Now maybe like the surprise birthday party or whatever. Like, hey, we flew a couple of your friends in, like, that you only get to see 2 or 3 times a year. Like, that'd be cool. Hint, hint. But just kidding. I'm not kidding though. But I'm saying, what I'm saying is like to me, it's just like, no, man, like if we're going to get each other gifts, I want to know what you want. Make me a list of what you want. And I'm going to crush it at giving you what you want, not giving you what I think you want. Now there's some times where
we did that growing up.
Yeah.
And it really
dude,
wasn't
apparently
the best.
I'm terrible at buying jewelry for you. The worst. I remember one time I spent a bag on you.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find
put it on and put me out there.
The jewelry that
dude, I spent a bag on this girl. Like, it was a bag, dude. It was like a little bag.
It was a bad bag.
And this chick was like, ooh.
I don't know if he thought I was like Pocahontas, but
Bruh,
literally.
Are you for real right now? You know what it was? It was like, I thought it was pretty. I know,
which makes me sad. It was like a huge Pocahontas necklace,
no, it wasn't,
guys.
dude.
Yes, it was. With
was.
the matching earrings.
It was dope.
And
it was dope.
ring.
It was dope.
Bro.
And it was blingy for sure.
I
But
think
you
I
don't
put
like
it away just for memories, but I was like, where can I return this?
I think you pawned it.
No, I
I
wanted
think you
to.
pawned it. But
It's
I
somewhere.
think for us, it's now. Um, I don't rely on you for happiness. I do rely on you for joy. I rely on, and I rely on. I mean, obviously, I rely on the Lord and the Holy Spirit and His voice. But now, when it comes to happiness with you, you're not responsible for. But I love partnering with you. I love enjoying happy moments with you. You know what I mean? Like that's to me now. That's what I look forward to. I don't look at you and say, "Hey, you're supposed to make me happy."
Right.
Which again, that's the whole premise of this conversation, that it's not your job to make me happy.
Yeah, I think with that phrase comes maturity. And it took us a while to mature.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
to actually own and be honest about like, oh, you don't have to make me happy and pretend, you
Yeah.
know? We really owned that and matured, and 100%, like, I do not depend on you to
Right.
make me happy
Yeah.
or my children.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people I know that's like, well, as long as I have my children, I'll be happy. And guess what? Your children are gonna grow up
They're gonna leave you, bro.
and leave you.
And then they're gonna
that's
recognize
the point.
then they're gonna recognize what you've been doing to them this whole time.
Yeah,
And
like
they're
you've
just gonna
been
be like,
using
man, that's
them.
too much pressure to be around mom and dad, man.
And then
like,
they don't want to be around,
right,
period.
Right. I think for us, we've really graduated and we've really evolved into, man, I'm so glad you're here in this happy moment. You know what I mean? Like I really
Sounds like
enjoy that.
Disneyland. You want to go to Disneyland?
Well, absolutely, I want to go to Disneyland.
So
We should plan
Cruz,
it.
you became a Disney person.
Totally.
I
Totally.
used to be the Disney person, and I'm totally now like, okay, if we never go to Disneyland ever again,
wanna
like
go
I'm
every
good.
year.
And Cruz is now the advocate of the
Dude, say
Disney
less.
trips.
Like, dude, like if you tell me right now, like I'll book it today.
He
like
gets so
for real.
happy, and
I'll
I
book
love it because
today.
the girls love it.
To me, it's just enjoying it with them, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm so happy that I get to be in a moment where they're happy, right? And so I'm not like, watch, look how this could play out. I'm glad you brought up Disneyland, right? Because like parents will do this, or like people will do this, like, man, like, because it's almost like I'm so, like, watch. There's an element of you're supposed to make me happy, or you're supposed to be happy. Look what I did. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're both horrible.
They are.
Right? Because it's like,
They're both very selfish.
oof, that's a good word.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
a good
really
word.
not for anybody else but
That's a good
yourself,
word.
and for you to check off the box of fulfillment.
Yeah, that's a
for
good word.
yourself,
That's a
for
good word.
nobody else.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think we've all had a moment where like, if it was parents or friends or whatever, it's like, look what I did for you, you should be happy. Right. So it'd be one thing if I'm dragging you guys to Disneyland and like,
Right.
y'all better be happy. Look what we're doing. Y'all better, hey, fix your face. You better be happy. Right. And I'm glad it's never been that.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, man, like even now, right. Like our Chloe is about to be 13 and she still wants to do it. So for me, it's like, okay, man, if it
No,
makes
I
you
think
happy,
that's something in their hearts that they're gonna love to do with us, honestly, forever.
I hope so.
We really enjoy that time together.
I hope so.
And we enjoy family vacations together. So
Yeah, no doubt. But I think maybe some thoughts on how to remove the need for happiness or the pressure for happiness. I alluded to it a few moments ago, right? Like one of the things that we're learning to embrace is joy, and that's very different from happiness. Joy has nothing to do with the right happening, and joy is a really interesting term because joy is not always elation.
right.
Joy
Right.
joy is not always a party and a celebration, right? I'm thinking about the scripture right now in the book of Psalms that weeping may endure for a night, right? Like, so when you think about weeping, it's wailing, it's mourning,
Intense.
it's sadness, but joy comes in the morning, right? And so you think about like, the moment after weeping, the moment after mourning, right? Mourning endures for a night, weeping endures for a night. The moment after you stop crying and weeping, you're not necessarily throwing a party.
Right. It's
Right?
just a sense of like relief.
Right? That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a moment of relief. It's a moment of
Moment to
stability.
breathe.
It's a moment of like, okay, I got a grip.
Exhalation.
I got a grip. I'm going to be okay. Okay, we've got some work to do. It's not perfect, but we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be all right. And for us, I think joy has felt that way. Right? It's not always a party. Now there's joyful moments where it's like, oh dude, it's exuberance. And it's like, heck yeah, man. And joy and happiness are synonymous in those moments, but sometimes joy and happiness are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And, but happiness is a liability and joy is strength,
Yeah.
right? Knowing joy and embracing a quiet confidence, right? In a moment that's not very happy.
Yeah.
right? So like one of the places of joy that this might be a little too dark. I hope not. I hope it's not, I hope it's not too dark. But, as a pastor, one of the things that I have the honor and the privilege to do is stand with people at moments of end of life, right? And when they graduate from this world to the next, and I get to stand with their families. And there's this thing where when someone has a true conviction and the Spirit of God is at work in them, it's very bittersweet.
Yeah.
Right. And there's this moment that I would consider joy, right? Inevitably, where we'll be talking, and I'll just be, hey, are you guys good? How's it going? Are you feeling? And they say, Pastor, we miss them, but we know our truth, right? And in that moment, we're like, it kind of like it lifts their head, right?
Yeah,
but we know our truth. I would call that joy,
yeah.
right? I would call that moment joy. In a moment where the worst has happened, I've lost someone I love, right? And it's devastating, and it is. And happiness is gone. There's no room for happiness. But like there's moments of joy. I think there's moments of joy when they remember. Whenever I officiate a service like that, I always try to do my best to remember, right? And I give people permission to, hey, play the music. Hey, make the favorite meal. Hey, they were Cowboys fans. Well, they're used to not being happy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want any ats for that. That was kind of like shots fired. No, but you know what I mean?
There's variations
right,
of joy in our lives.
Go cling to things that anchor their memory to you and all that. And so anyway, but I think the whole point is, right, like you can have the wrong thing happening, but have the right disposition, which is joy.
And little things can bring you joy. It doesn't have to be a whole vacation. It doesn't have to be Disneyland.
Sure.
It can be, like you said, coming home from a long day and getting into sweats and into a fresh, clean bed.
Oh, I'm so joyful.
That is joy. Taking that first sip of coffee in the morning, like that is joy.
Sure.
There's just moments in your life that you feel fulfilled and you can exhale.
Yeah. I think. So
I'm kind of glad that you're not responsible for my happiness. I would. I would be a mess.
Yeah, but I'm terrible at it. Yeah, man. Now, there's a difference between I'm responsible for your happiness versus, hey, if you tell me how, I'll make you happy. I think that's a big deal as well, right? Like, tell me how, I'll make you happy. I'll do my best to make you happy if you tell me what's making you happy right now. And I do think that's a cool thing.
That is. I think if you're in partnership and you can be, because it's also humility, like for one another, because it's a service that you're going to do for one another.
That's a good word.
Yeah, and I think if you're at that point in your relationship where you're like, no, I want to serve you. Give me a list and let me see. Let me see how well I can do.
You should already know. Okay, you're crazy.
Come on,
you're crazy. You don't even know. You know what I mean? If I tell you to make a list right now, you don't even know what to tell me.
Exactly.
With your crazy self. I just got to know.
I mean, that was us the first 2 years.
No doubt.
We were very selfish,
no
and
doubt.
we were very much like, well, you should know, and trying to be in this romantic type of fantasy where we didn't want that story or the movie to end. And we were trying to like, oh, come on, guess. And that was like a horror movie.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Yeah.
There was always disappointment, and there was a lot of unhappiness for sure. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you understand it's not my job to make you happy, and it's not your job it's not your job to make me happy. But I'm grateful that the Lord gave us to each other so that we can share happy moments.
Yes.
And that we can strengthen each other in moments where we need joy.
Amen.
I think we've learned to do that really well. And so hopefully this conversation helps you. It was kind of a short one, but it got straight to the point. But honestly, I think that if you listen to this and you really embrace it, if you really lean into this will free you from misplaced expectations on every level of your life. It's my spirit. It's my responsibility.
Yep. It's myself.
Yeah, for real. It's my responsibility. And I think that if you're able to walk in it, if you're able to take ownership of it, if you're able to free people around you from this misplaced responsibility and obligation and expectation that you've put on them, man, your relationships can thrive. And if you're in a married context, I would encourage you to have a conversation with your spouse and just talk about, hey, I'm sorry that I've put this responsibility on you. Or
This is like a great conversation to have
For sure.
as a married couple. Like it'll really bring you to a beautiful place of communication and humility.
For sure. Right. And then after you say, man, I'm sorry, maybe saying, hey, what are things that are making you happy right now? You know, like today, like in the next 36 hours, because those things have an expiration date, right? Yesterday, chili mangoes were making me very happy. I love chili mangoes.
Right now, like I'm not a coffee snob whatsoever, guys. Like
Nespresso.
I never buy coffee, but Nespresso pistachio
It's fire.
flavor.
It's gas,
What
dude.
the heck?
It's gas,
You
for
can
sure.
literally taste the pistachio.
We're not sponsored, yo. This episode is not brought to you by
But
Nespresso. Not yet.
if Nespresso wants to send me those pods,
I'm with it.
I took a chance on those, and they're incredible.
You crushed it. You crushed it. But for real, I think you should have a conversation with people around you, with friends, with family members. Invite them into your living room and say, hey, this is where I'm at today. Either I got to make it right with you, or I want to help you get an understanding. Maybe we need to work on this together.
And then let us know how those combos went.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you.
You know what's cool, babe? More and more people are reaching out and letting us know.
Yeah, I love it.
And I love it. I love you guys. Legitimately, it's one of our favorite things to interact with you and hear from you and hear how this is helping your life move forward faster.
Yeah, it encourages us to keep continuing to have these conversations.
For sure. Let's go talk.
Good talk.
I love you.
Subscribe.
Hey, you're so funny, Diana. Until next time, go be happy, but do it the right way. Yeah, I love it. But like Diana said, hey, do us that favor. That would mean the world to us if you would subscribe to the channel. A lot of people, I say it every time, a lot of people rock with this content, but they don't subscribe. It's crazy to me. Let us know, man. Make it official. And thank you for sharing it. Turn on the bell notification on YouTube, and so you can get notified every single time we drop. We drop multiple times a week, one long episode a week and several shorts a week. Follow us on Instagram. All of our Instagram information is in the description in the video. And we can't wait to rock with you. Leave us some messages, man. Let us know what you want us to talk about. There's my shout out to my barber. He watches. He and his wife watch, which love them, man. Love what God is doing in their lives. And he actually gave me a recommendation on something that I think we'll talk in a few conversations down the road.
Sounds good.
But he gave me a recommendation. But we would love to hear from you guys, man. So until next time, we love y'all. Peace.